After watching and researching hundreds of videos, I realized that most of them make learning German harder than it's need to be. And that's why I created this A2 crash course, and this is the only video you'll need to crack your A2 level. In this video, I'm going to give you the access to the first 2 power pack module from my A2 intensive course. And the best part, absolutely for free. These modules are combination of total 12 video series designed to help you pass your A2 exam with confidence. And if you're ready to go all in and want to purchase my A2 intensive course, then you can find the link to my course down below in the description. So let's get started with the crash course. Hey learners, and welcome to the German A2 intensive course. This is the most awarded course in our German school community. This course will be presented by Imtiaz Mojumdar, that's me, myself, presented to community members or those who are watching this course. So now let's see, who is this course for? This course is designed for those who are international students or expats or foreigners and working professionals. So if you are an international student in Germany or you are planning to study in Germany in future, then this will be the perfect course for you. Then we have the expats and foreigners. Like if you recently moved to Germany or you are planning to move to Germany, then this course will be a game changer. And finally, we have the working professionals. If you're working in Germany, you know German is must and a crucial which you can't avoid. You will need German every sector, every part of your profession. So that's why this is a course which is designed for international students or expats foreigners or for people who are working in Germany. Now let's see what you will learn in this entire A2 intensive course. At first, we'll go through some vocabularies where we'll focus on improving your vocabulary. Because after completing the A1 exam or A1 course, you might forget some of the German words. That's why this is important and crucial that we practice vocabulary first. After covering the vocabulary part, we will go through some grammar section. Specifically for grammar, I have in this entire course 2 modules. One is some basic grammars and then second one is advanced grammars. So no worries, in this course we are going to deep dive into some essential German grammar. Because in A1 level there are not so much of grammar to learn, but in A2 you have to learn tons of grammar. And finally, we'll do some A2 exam preparation. As this course is an A2 intensive course, this entire course is designed to pass your A2 exam. That means after completing this A2 intensive course, you will be prepared to write your A2 exam. So now let's see what is the agenda of this course. Okay, so you can see in this course we have in total 5 modules. In module number 1, we will focus on expanding vocabularies, where we will learn essential vocabulary for everyday conversations and specific topics to boost fluency. Then in module number 2, you can see you will focus on grammar essential, where we will learn the foundational grammar rules needed to form accurate sentences in German. So as I mentioned previously, after completing the A1 course, you might forget some of the vocabularies. That's why at first in module number 1, we'll focus on expanding your vocabulary so that you can know various words and you can use them in grammar sections. And after completing the module number 1, where you will learn some vocabulary, and module number 2, where you will learn some grammars, some essential grammars, we'll go through some advanced grammar. And in advanced grammar section, we'll learn some more complex grammar concepts to enhance your communication skills. So these 2 modules are the important one, because in these 2 modules, you'll learn tons of grammar rules. And after completing the module number 1, 2 and 3, where we'll learn tons of vocabularies, tons of grammar rules, we'll go through the Sheet Plus A2 Essential, where we'll learn some key lessons from the Sheet Plus book to solidify your A2 level understanding. Previously in the A1 course, we went through the entire book, each and every chapter. But in this course, we don't have to go through the entire book, each and every chapter. I will just cover some key lessons from the book so that you can have the basic understanding of A2 level. And as we will go through tons of grammar rules, you will be prepared for the A2 exam. Like what you have learned in module number 1, vocabularies, module number 2, 3, grammar rules, you will implement all of them in module number 4, which will be the book Sheet Plus A2. And after completing the module number 4, we will go through the exam preparation section, where I will give you some tips and practice to confidently tackle the A2 exam at the Goethe Institute or whatever institute you are preparing for. So this is the main agenda of this course. This course is divided into 5 modules. So expanding vocabularies, grammar essentials, advanced grammars, Sheeted A2 essentials, and then finally exam preparation. Now let's see material and resources. So what kind of material or resources do you need to complete this A2 intensive course? At first, most important, internet connection. You need a solid internet connection to take part in this course. Then you will need a smartphone or laptop. You don't need both. One is enough. If you have a smartphone, then you can watch the entire course in your phone. Laptop will be a better option because if you watch the video on laptop, then you can also take notes at the same time. Then we have next one, which is pen and paper. This is a must, a crucial one. I think I don't have to talk about this. I'm guessing that you already have it at your home. If not, then go and buy them. And finally, the main material you need is a book called Sheeted Plus. Don't worry, don't panic. The link to the book you can find down below this video. This is not compulsory, but it will be better if you have the book in person. It will be easy for you to understand the topics. So this was all about the material and resources. Let's get started. Let's begin your A2 German journey. If you have any question regarding this course, or let's say you get stuck with something, don't hesitate to contact me. You can either chat with me or comment down your problem, or if you're a member of our community, you can just post in the community. If I don't see your post, there are thousands of people who are ready to help you with your problem. So see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Hey guys, and welcome to the first video of module number 1. So before we start with our actual video, let's see which videos we are going to cover in this entire module. So module number 1, expanding vocabulary. Okay, under this module we have in total 5 videos, and which are at first everyday vocabulary, then we have food and drink vocabulary, then we have travel vocabulary, and fourth we have health and body related vocabulary, and finally we have work and profession related vocabulary. So in this video what we are going to cover is this everyday vocabulary section, where we will go through some everyday vocabularies which are crucial in our day-to-day life. This module is an important and crucial module because after passing the A1 exam you might forget some of the words. That's why we will just revise through the words, and we'll also learn some advanced vocabularies. So let's start with our first video, which is everyday vocabulary. So let's see what we're going to cover in this video. So here's what we're going to cover: importance of everyday vocabulary, then common categories of vocabulary, then we have useful phrases and expressions, then we have memorize by labeling items, and finally we have practice and interaction. So the first point we are going to cover is importance of everyday vocabulary. Learning everyday vocabulary is essential for 1, daily communication, and second, interaction in common situations. So if you're living in Germany, you know sometimes it's hard to recognize some of the words which could be very useful in your day-to-day conversation. So that's why we are focusing on the everyday vocabulary, so that you can implement it in your daily communication or just like interacting in common situation. And the interaction in common situation can be like shopping, eating, or traveling. So now let's discover which kind of vocabularies you need in the common situations like shopping, eating, and traveling. Okay, so common categories of vocabulary. So at first you can see we have the category food and drink. This is a must, this is an important one. Then we have the clothing category, which is also crucial. And then we have places, like how to name the places, how to say them in German. Okay, so now let's see some example for the first category, which is food and drink. For example, Brot, Wasser. So Brot means basically bread, Wasser means water. Okay, then in clothing we have like Hemd, Hose. So Hemd means shirt and Hose means pants. Then we have places like Haus, Schule. So house means house and Schule means school. Okay, so let's continue. Useful phrases and expressions. So these are some common phrases that you can use in your daily conversation, like wie geht's. Okay, wie geht's. Wie geht's means how are you, or how is it going. Okay, so wie geht's dir would be how are you, and wie geht's or was geht like how is it going. Then we have ich hätte gerne. Ich hätte gerne. What does it mean? So ich hätte gerne basically means I would like to have. For example, if you are at a store, at a restaurant, at a cafe, you can just ask for ich hätte gerne plus the thing you want. Okay, so you can see ich hätte gerne, then you can just add the thing, and that is the main reason we are going through the vocabularies, so that you know each of the thing, how to say them in German. Okay, then we have another expression, for example, wo ist. Then the item, for example, you can see the old man is searching for his key, so he can just say wo ist mein Schlüssel. Okay, wo ist mein Schlüssel. So wo ist means where is, then the thing you can just add, and then that will be a question. Wo is, where is. Okay, so let's continue with the next slide, which is memorize by labeling items. So you can see each items you can just label with the name. For example, we have the television here. So television, you would say in German Fernseher. Okay, then we have book. Book is Buch in German. You can just label it with Buch. Then we have window. Window, you can just label it with Fenster. Then we have tea, or the cup, teacup. You can just label it with Tasse. And finally we have the sofa. Sofa, you will also call it in German Sofa. So you can see you can label each of the items in your house with some kind of sticky notes. Okay, this is a best trick, because when you label something with the words, then what you will do is every time you see the thing, you can just read it in German. That's why you will learn faster than usual. For that reason, I think labeling the things is a best way to learn German even faster. Then we have the next slide, which is practice and interaction. So now you may ask, bro, how to practice and how to interact, because I don't have any German friends, or let's say I don't have the access to practice my German. So what you can do is, at first, set daily vocabulary goals. For example, you set a goal for this week that you will learn 100 words. So what you have to do is, you will just break down in 5 days, which means 10 new words per day. That means each day you will learn 10 new words. And by end of 1 week, you will learn 100 words. End of each month, you will learn around 400 new words. That can be a basic goal you can set for yourself, okay? Then you have the next way, which is listen and imitate native speaker. So for this tip, what you can do is, you can just listen to some German podcast or some German TV shows and just look how they speak, like their accent and the way they talk. You would just repeat after them, okay? For example, if some native speaker said some word or some sentence, and then you will try to narrate the sentence, okay? And you will also get the flow, like how to talk like a native speaker. Then lastly, we have practice with a partner or community. In our case, we have a benefit, like we have an entire community where we help each other to grow together. So now what you can do is, you can just ask in the community if someone want to be your speaking partner. Like if you're in the same level, you can just write each other or have a conversation with each other. It can be virtually or also can be in person. This community is here to connect with each other and learn together. So find a partner in our community and let's grow together. Conclusion. Congratulations on completing this lesson. This lesson was just a basic, just a foundation to start your A2 learning journey. In the upcoming videos, we are going to deep dive into advanced things which may help you to improve your German vocabs. So see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Hey guys, and welcome to the second video of module number 1. In this video, we are going to talk about food and drink vocabularies. Okay, so let's see what we're going to cover. So we are going to cover common food vocabulary. Then we have essential drink vocabulary. Then we have ordering foods and drinks. And then finally we have food related adjectives. Okay, so let's start with our first slide, which is common food vocabulary. Food items divided into 3 categories. So what I have just did is, I just divided the food items in 3 categories, which are at first everyday essentials. Then we have fruits and vegetables. And finally we have protein and meats. Okay, so let's start with our first category, which is everyday essentials. Okay, so these are the food items. They are essential in our day-to-day life. So let's start with the first one. So at first you can see there is a bread. So how do you say bread in German? You say das Brot. Okay, das Brot. Das Brot is bread, and the plural form of the bread is breads, and in German it's die Brote. So das Brot, die Brote. Das Brot, bread, and die Brote, breads. Okay, so next we have butter. How do you say butter in German? It's the same like English one. The spelling is same, you can see butter, but you say in German Butter. Okay, die Butter. So butter is die Butter, and there is no plural form of butter because you don't say butters in English. If there is more than one butter, you also say butter. That's why die Butter. So then we have das Ei. Das Ei. So das Ei is for egg, and the Eier is for eggs. Okay, so egg is Ei and eggs is Eier. Then we have cheese. How do you say cheese in German? You say Käse. Käse. Der Käse is the article of the Käse, and the plural form is also Käse, but you have to use the article die. Okay, so then we have der Joghurt. Yogurt, you'd say in German, Joghurt. Okay, so der Joghurt and the yogurts, the plural form of yogurt. Okay, then we have lastly rice. How do you say rice in German? Der Reis. Okay, der Reis, but it has a different pronunciation. You can see R-A-E-S. So rice. So rice is der Reis, and in plural rices is die Reise. Okay, so you may notice a similarity, which is I just wrote for every noun the article, because in German the article is the must. Okay, for example, in English we have only the article the. Okay, the bread, the butter, the egg, or the cheese. Okay, but in German you have for each item various article. For example, you can see for bread you have das, for butter you have die, for I you have also das, then Käse has der. So when you learn the German vocabs, you have to also focus on the articles. Okay, because if you want to use them in a sentence, let's say you want to use them in a accusative sentence or dative sentence, then you also have to transform the article into accusative or dative. So that's why it is also important to learn with the articles. So now let's jump into the next category, which is fruits and vegetables. So at first you can see there is apple. How do you say apple in German? You say Apfel. Okay, der Apfel. And if there is more than one apple, you say apples in English, but in German you say die Äpfel. Okay, die Äpfel. Der Apfel and die Äpfel. You see, there is an umlaut. You have to also pay attention to the umlaut because it pronounced a little bit different. You don't say Apfel, you say Äpfel. Okay. Then we have banana. How do you say banana in German? You say die Banane. Die Banane. So the banana is banana and the Bananen is bananas. Okay. Then we have orange. How do you say orange in German? Die Orange. Die Orange. And the plural form is oranges, which is in German die Orangen. Okay, die Orangen. Then we have kiwi. How do you say kiwi in German? Also kiwi, die Kiwi. And kiwis is in German die Kiwis. Okay. Then we have strawberry. How do you say strawberry in German? You say die Erdbeere. Okay, die Erdbeere. So the Erdbeere is strawberry and the Erdbeeren is strawberries. Okay, so plural form. Then we have next Gurke. So cucumber is in German Gurke, and Gurken is the plural form, which is cucumbers. Okay, so cucumber Gurke, cucumbers Gurken. So you may notice the top section is all about fruits and the down section is all about the vegetables. Okay, so let's continue. Then we have the tomate. So tomato is in German Tomate, and tomatoes is in German the Tomaten. Okay, so tomato, tomate, and tomatoes is Tomaten. Okay, then next we have onion. How do you say onion in German? You say die Zwiebel. Die Zwiebel. Die Zwiebel is onion and the Zwiebeln is onions. Okay, the plural form of onion is Zwiebel. Okay, Zwiebeln. Then we have next lettuce. How do you say lettuce in German? You say der Salat. Der Salat is for lettuce and the Salate is lettuces, the plural form of the Salat. Okay, the Salate. Next we have potato. So potato is the Kartoffel and potatoes is the Kartoffel. Okay, so the Kartoffel and the Kartoffel. So potato and potatoes. Let's move on to the next category, which is protein and meats. So now let's learn some meats in German. Like how do you say the meats and proteins in German? At first we have the sauces. How do you say sausage in German? You say die Wurst. Okay, die Wurst. Die Wurst is for sausage and the Würste is for sausages. Okay, the plural form of sausage. Then we have fish. How do you say fish in German? Also like the English one, fish, but you would add an C here in between. So they are fish, and then the plural is die Fische. Die Fische. They are fish, fish. Die Fische, fishes. Okay. Then we have chicken. How do you say chicken in German? You say das Hähnchen. Das Hähnchen. So das Hähnchen is chicken and die Hähnchen is chicken. You can see the spelling is same, but you have to say it with the die article because plural has always the article die Hähnchen, chickens. Next we have beef. How do you say beef in German? You say das Rindfleisch. Das Rindfleisch. So beef. Then we have pork. How do you say pork in German? You say das Schweinfleisch. Das Schweinfleisch. Pork. And lastly we have ground meat. How do you say ground meat in German? You say das Hackfleisch. Das Hackfleisch. So ground meat. You may notice a common trait, which is the last word is same, like Fleisch, Fleisch and Fleisch. And one more common thing, each of them has the article das. Why? Because you can see there are not one words, they are two words combined into one word. You can see Rind and Fleisch, Schwein and Fleisch, Hack and Fleisch. So normally Fleisch means meats. So basically meats means in German Fleisch. So Fleisch is all kind of meats, like sausages can be also Fleisch, fish can be also Fleisch, Hähnchen can be also Fleisch, and Fleisch has the article das. So here's one thing to learn: if any noun is combined in two words, then the article of the last word will be the article of the entire word. So the article of the last word Fleisch is das, that's why you say das Rindfleisch. Article of Fleisch is das, that's why you say das Schweinefleisch. Article of Fleisch is das, that's why you say das Hackfleisch. Now let's continue with the next slide, which is essential drink vocabulary. So these are some common words for drinks, okay? At first we have water. How do you say water in German? You say das Wasser. Das Wasser. Das Wasser is water. Then we have coffee. How do you say coffee in German? You say der Kaffee. Der Kaffee. Then we have milk. How do you say milk in German? You say die Milch. Die Milch. Then we have beer. How do you say beer in German? You say das Bier. Das Bier. Then we have orange juice. So how do you say orange juice in German? You say der Orangensaft. Der Orangensaft. Normally orange means orange and Saft means juice. So Saft has the article der, that's why the entire word has the article der. As we have learned in the previous slide, if any noun is combined with two words, then the article of the last noun is the main noun of the entire word. So we said der Orangensaft because Saft has the article der. Next we have wine. How do you say wine in German? You say der Wein. Der Wein. Then we have tea. How do you say tea in German? You say der Tee. Der Tee. Then lastly we have Coca-Cola. How do you say Coca-Cola in German? You say die Cola. The cola. Okay, so now let's continue with the next slide. So now what we'll do is we'll learn how to order food or drink in German. Okay, so these are some useful phrases and vocabulary for ordering at a restaurant or cafe. So at first the cashier or the waiter can ask, was möchten Sie trinken? Was möchten Sie trinken? That means what you would like to drink. Then you can just answer with ich hätte gerne, then the thing you want. Yeah, for example, we have just learned Kaffee has the article der. You can just ask with ich hätte gerne einen Kaffee, or you can just ask ich hätte gerne ein Bier, or you can just ask ich hätte gerne eine Cola. Okay, so you just answer with ich hätte gerne, then the item you want. So now let's move on to the next slide, which is food related adjectives. Now we'll learn some food related adjectives, and these are lecker. Lecker means delicious. So this is the most common adjective, food adjective you would use in your entire German journey. Then we have sauer. Sauer means sour. Okay, sour is sauer. Then we have süß. Süß. So süß is sweet. If something is sweet, you can use this adjective süß. But other than the food items, you can also say to a person süß. Okay, like you say in English, you are sweet. Like that, you can also say du bist süß. Du bist süß means you are sweet. Then we have the next adjective, which is salzig. Salzig means salty. And then we have scharf. Scharf means spicy. So conclusion. Congratulations on completing this lesson. In this lesson, we have just learned some most common and basic food related vocabularies. Also learned some drink related vocabularies. Then we have learned how to order something in German. And finally, we also learned some food related adjectives. In the next video, we are going to talk about the travel related vocabularies. So see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Hi guys, so welcome to the third video of module number 1. In this video, we are going to cover the travel vocabularies. So let's see what are we going to cover. Here's what we're going to cover. Basic travel terms, asking for directions, common transportation words, and then finally useful travel expressions. Okay, so first let's cover the first point, which is basic travel terms. So here are some essential vocabularies related to travel. For example, at first we have the train station. How do you say train station in German? You would say der Bahnhof. Der Bahnhof. Der Bahnhof means train station. And then we have der Flughafen. Der Flughafen. Der Flughafen means airport. And then we have luggage. How do you say luggage in German? Das Gepäck. Das Gepäck. And then we have ticket. How do you say ticket in German? This is also similar like the English one. Das Ticket. Das Ticket. And then in this element you can see they are traveling or they are having some trip. How do you say trip in German? So this one called die Reise. Trip is in German die Reise. Okay, let's continue with the next slide. Asking for directions. These are some common phrases for asking and understanding directions. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Wo ist? Wo ist? That means where is. So this is the basic one, the most common one. Wo ist? For example, you can ask, as we learned from the previous slide, the train station called der Bahnhof. You can just ask, wo ist der Bahnhof? Wo ist der Bahnhof? Or you can just ask, wo ist der Flughafen? Okay, so wo ist der Flughafen means where is the airport. Okay, so next common question you can ask for asking directions is wie komme ich zu? You can say either wo ist, or you can also say wie komme ich zu. Okay, wie komme ich zu means how do I get to. For example, wie komme ich zum Bahnhof, or wie komme ich zum Flughafen. This is the similar one like wo ist, but this one is a little bit advanced. Okay, wo komme ich zu. And then we have nach links and nach rechts. Nach links means turn left and nach rechts means turn right. Okay, left and right. Left means links and right means rechts. Nach links, nach rechts. And then we have geradeaus. Geradeaus. Geradeaus means straight ahead. Geradeaus. So wo ist or wie komme ich zu? And then we have also learned nach links, nach rechts and geradeaus. Okay, let's continue with the next slide. So these are some common transportation words. Let's learn them, each of them. So the first one you can see a car. How do you say car in German? So the car is in German das Auto. Das Auto. And then we have the next one, which is a train. How do you say train in German? You would say der Zug. Der Zug. Okay, next we have a airplane. How do you say airplane in German? Das Flugzeug. Das Flugzeug. Airplane. Then we have subway. How do you say subway in German? Die U-Bahn. Die U-Bahn. Okay, subway is U-Bahn. And then we have bus. How do you say bus in German? This one called der Bus. Der Bus. And then we have a bicycle or a bike. How do you say bike in German? This one called das Fahrrad. Das Fahrrad. And one more important thing that you have to learn all of these words with the article. Okay, the article is important because if you, as I mentioned previously, if you want to use accusative or dative case, you have to remember the article so that you can transform the article into dative or accusative. Okay, so let's continue with the next slide, which is useful travel expressions. So these are some practical phrase and expression related to travel. Okay, let's learn them. So the first one is ich möchte ein Zimmer reservieren. Ich möchte ein Zimmer reservieren. That means I would like to reserve a room. Okay, I would like to reserve a room. Then we have haben Sie ein freies Zimmer? Haben Sie ein freies Zimmer? That means do you have a room available? Like frei means available. Freies Zimmer means available, room available. Okay, so you can say Zimmer. Zimmer is for room, German word room, and reservieren is reserve. It's like the same one as English. And yeah, Zimmer is room and frei means available. Then we have the next one. Ich habe eine Reservierung. Okay, ich habe eine Reservierung. One is, you can see this one is a verb, reservieren. And the other one, you can see Reservierung. This is for reservation. So reserve as a verb, you would say reservieren. Reservation, you would say in German Reservierung. Okay, so the next sentence we have wann fährt der Zug ab? Okay, wann fährt der Zug up. You can see this is a train by verb where the main verb was abfahren. Okay, abfahren. You have to separate the verb in train by verb. And I think you already learned it in your A1 level, which is a train by how to separate a train by verb. Yeah, there are lots of train by verb. One of them is abfahren. Abfahren means to departure, or in this case, when does the train leave or depart? Okay, when wann fährt der Zug ab? That means basically in English, when does the train leave? Wann fährt der Zug ab? Okay, so let's see the next phrase, which is wie lange dauert die Fahrt? Wie lange dauert die Fahrt? That means how long is the journey? Okay, how long is the journey? Wie lange? How long? Dauert means how long did it take? So this was some basic phrases or expression you can use in case of traveling. Okay, so conclusion. Congratulations on completing this lesson. This lesson was pretty fast. We just went through some travel vocabularies, how to express some common phrases, and that's all. In the upcoming video, we'll learn some vocabulary related to health and body. Okay, see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Hey guys, and welcome to the fourth video of module number 1. In this video, we're going to talk about health and body. Okay, so let's see what we're going to cover in this video. So here's what we're going to cover: basic body parts vocabulary, talking about illness and symptoms, visiting a doctor, health related verbs and vocabulary. Okay, so now let's continue with our first slide, which is basic body parts vocabulary. So now what we'll do is we'll just learn the various parts, the various organs of our body. Okay, so let's start with our main thing, the main boss, which is cough. So cough means head, so head is in German Kopf. Then we have Ohr, Ohr is ear. Then we have eye, so eye is Auge in German. Then we have Nase, Nase is nose, the German word for nose. Then we have Mund, Mund is the German word for mouth. Then we have Hals, Hals is the German word for throat. Okay, then we have Schulter, Schulter is the German word for shoulder. Then we have Brust, Brust is the German word for breast. Okay, then we have Arm, Arm is the German word for arm. Then we have Bauch, Bauch is the German word for stomach. Then we have Hand, Hand is the German word for hand. And then we have Finger, Finger is also like the English one, finger. Then we have Bein, Bein is the German word for leg. Then we have Knie, Knie is the German word for knee. Then we have Fuß, Fuß is the German word for foot. Okay, so repeat after me: Kopf, Ohr, Auge, Nase, Mund, Hals, Schulter, Brust, Arm, Bauch, Hand, Finger, Bein, Knie, Fuß. Congrats, you have just learned all the various parts of our body in German. So let's continue with the next slide, which is talking about illness and symptoms. So these are some common phrases for describing common health problems. For example, you can just say, Ich habe Kopfschmerzen. Ich habe Kopfschmerzen. So Kopfschmerzen basically means headache. Okay, so ich habe Kopfschmerzen means I have a headache. Then we have mir geht es schlecht. Okay, mir geht es schlecht. We know mir geht es gut means I'm good, but the opposite of that is schlecht. Then you can just say mir geht es schlecht. That means I'm feeling sick. Then we have ich bin krank. Ich bin krank. Ich bin krank means I'm sick. Then we have ich habe Fieber. Ich habe Fieber. Ich habe Fieber means I have fever. Okay, so this was some common illness or symptoms you can just express in German. Okay, this was some basics. Then let's continue with the next slide, which is visiting a doctor. This is also an important lesson because let's face it, if you go to the doctor and can't speak any word in German, then it will be much harder to explain the problem. That's why I think these are some important key phrases for a doctor's visit. Ich brauche einen Termin beim Arzt. Ich brauche einen Termin beim Arzt. This is a basic. If you want a doctor's appointment, you just say ich brauche einen Termin beim Arzt. That means I need a doctor's appointment. This one is like level 1. Then we have wo tut es weh? Wo tut es weh? This is a question from the doctor. He would just ask you wo tut es weh? Wo tut es weh means where does it hurt? Okay, wo tut es weh? Then you can answer with ich habe Schmerzen hier. Ich habe Schmerzen hier. So what you have to do is, after saying the phrase ich habe Schmerzen hier, then you can just show the area why it's hurting. So if you only know this basic sentence, ich habe Schmerzen hier, you can probably express your pain or all kind of symptoms to the doctor. Or you can also give an alternative answer to wo tut es weh, which can be mein Hand tut weh or mein Brust tut weh. Like you can just answer with why is it hurting. Now let's continue with the next slide. Health related verbs and vocabulary. So on the left side we'll learn some health related verbs, and on the right side we'll learn some health related vocabulary. So let's start with the verbs. At first we have atmen. So atmen is a must. If you don't breathe, you can't live. So atmen is a verb you have to must know. So atmen means to breathe. Then we have husten. Husten means to cough. Okay, husten. Then we have heilen. Heilen means to heal. Okay, to heal. Then we have ruhen. Ruhen means to rest. Okay. Then let's continue with our vocabulary, which is at first we have Gesundheit. Gesundheit. So Gesundheit means health. Then we have Sport treiben. Sport treiben means to exercise. Then we have sich gesund ernähren. Sich gesund ernähren means to eat healthy. Okay. Then we have ausreichend schlafen. Ausreichend schlafen means to sleep enough. So ausreichend means enough, and schlafen, you know, right? It's sleep. So ausreichend schlafen means to sleep enough. So now let's go through them one more time and repeat after me. Okay. So for verbs we had atmen, husten, heilen, ruhen. Okay. Atmen, husten, heilen, ruhen. As vocabularies we had Gesundheit, Sport treiben, sich gesund ernähren, ausreichend schlafen. So Gesundheit, Sport treiben, sich gesund ernähren, ausreichend schlafen. So conclusion. Congratulations on completing this lesson. In this lesson we have just learned some basic health related vocabularies and verbs. We also learned what expression and phrases to use when you visit a doctor, how to express your illness and symptoms, and more. In the next video, we are going to talk about the work and profession related vocabularies. So see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye. Hey guys, and welcome to the fifth and final video of module number 1, which is work and professions. So now let's see what we're going to cover in this video. In this video, we are going to cover common professions vocabulary. Then we have talking about jobs. Then we have workplace vocabulary, and finally we have job related verbs. Okay, so let's start with our first slide, which is common professions vocabulary. So these are some common professions in German, which are at first they are Arzt or die Ärztin. Okay, they are Arzt or die Ärztin. You see, we have both version. One is the male version and the other one is the female version. So Dr. Male is der Arzt and Dr. Female is die Ärztin. So you can see for the male doctor we used der Arzt, and for the female doctor die Ärztin, because der is masculine and die is feminine. And one more thing, you have to pay attention to the umlaut. Normally you say der Arzt, but you can't say die Ärztin. You say die Ärztin. Okay, Ärztin. Let's move on to the next profession, which is a teacher. So how do you say teacher in German? You say der Lehrer or die Lehrerin. Der Lehrer or die Lehrerin. Then we have a engineer. How do you say engineer in German? You say der Ingenieur or die Ingenieurin. Okay, so der Ingenieur or the Ingenieurin is engineer. Next we have a salesperson. How do you say salesperson in German? You say der Verkäufer or die Verkäuferin. You can see here's also an umlaut. That's why you say Verkäufer, not Verkäufer. You say Verkäufer and Verkäuferin. So salesperson. Then we have lawyer. How do you say lawyer in German? You say der Anwalt or die Anwältin. Okay, der Anwalt or die Anwältin. So der Anwalt is the male version of lawyer and die Anwältin is the female version of lawyer. So next we have a mechanic. How do you say mechanic in German? You say der Mechaniker or die Mechanikerin. Der Mechaniker or die Mechanikerin. Let's move on to the next slide. So here you can see a police. How do you say police in German? You say der Polizist or die Polizistin. Der Polizist or die Polizistin. So Polizist is the male version of police and Polizistin, female version of police, the Polizistin. Then we can see there is a computer guy or IT guy. How do you say IT specialist? You say der Informatiker or die Informatikerin. Der Informatiker or die Informatikerin. So he is a IT specialist or Informatiker, and the female version is Informatikerin. Then we have a chef or cook. How do you say chef? You say chef in German, der Koch or die Köchin. Der Koch or die Köchin. You see, you have to also pay attention to the umlaut. Köchin. You don't say Kochin, you say Köchin. Then we have a nurse. How do you say nurse in German? You say der Krankenpfleger or die Krankenschwester. Okay. So for male version of nurse, you say Krankenpfleger, but female version, you say normally also sister to the nurse. Yeah, in English, as like that. In German also Krankenschwester. Okay, Schwester means sister. So Krankenschwester is for female nurse and Krankenpfleger is for male nurse. Okay, then we have an electrician. How do you say an electrician in German? You say der Elektriker or die Elektrikerin. Der Elektriker or die Elektrikerin. So male version Elektriker, die Elektrikerin is the female version. Then we have a waiter or waitress. How do you say in German? You say der Kellner or die Kellnerin. Der Kellner or die Kellnerin. So waiter and waitress. Let's move on to the next slide, which is talking about jobs. So these are some common phrases for discussing jobs and occupation. At first we have the Was sind Sie von Beruf? Was sind Sie von Beruf? So that basically means what do you do for a living? Then we have Ich bin ... von Beruf. So this is the follow-up answer for the question. Ich bin ... von Beruf means I am ... by profession. For example, Ich bin Arzt von Beruf, ich bin Lehrer von Beruf, and so on. Okay, you can just put the profession, what you have just learned, and then you can just answer the question. Okay, then we have the next one, ich arbeite als. Okay, so this is an alternative answer to this one. You can say ich bin Arzt von Beruf, or you can just say ich arbeite als Arzt. Okay, neither is wrong, both one is right. You can use both of them. So one is I work as, and the other one is I'm ... I'm a doctor or I'm a teacher by profession. So next we have Ich bin Student. So this is a basic one. If you are not working professionally, you just say Ich bin Student. Now let's continue with the next slide. So workplace vocabulary. Now as we have learned some profession, now let's learn some vocabularies related to the workplace. Okay, so at first we have das Büro. Das Büro. Das Büro means office. Okay, then we have der Kollege. Der Kollege. Der Kollege means colleague. Then next we have die Arbeitszeiten. Die Arbeitszeiten means working hours. Die Arbeitszeiten. Then we have der Chef. Der Chef. Der Chef means boss. Okay, you can see this rude person is a boss. So der Chef, boss. Then we have die Schichtarbeit. So Schichtarbeit means shift work. Okay, normally in German there are three types of Schichten or the shift work. One is Frühschicht, which is a morning shift. Then we have Spätschicht, which is basically a midday shift. Then we have Nachtschicht, which is like the night shift. Okay, and next we have der Arbeitsplatz. Der Arbeitsplatz means the place where you work. Okay, your workplace, Arbeitsplatz. Now let's continue the next slide, which is some job related verbs. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll learn some useful verbs that are related to your work and professions. So first one is arbeiten. This is a must, this is a crucial one. Arbeiten, to work. Then we have verdienen. Verdienen. Verdienen means to earn. Then we have bewerben. Bewerben. Bewerben means to apply. Then we have kündigen. Kündigen means to quit. Then we have einstellen. Einstellen means to hire. Like if your boss want to hire you, he will also wird dich einstellen. But if you want to hire someone, you would say ich möchte ihn einstellen. Okay, so einstellen means to hire. Okay, so let's go through them one more time and repeat after me. Arbeiten, to work. Verdienen, to earn. Bewerben, to apply. Kündigen, to quit. Einstellen, to hire. So this was some basic vocabularies related to your job or work or profession. Okay, so conclusion. Congratulations on completing this lesson. In this lesson we have just covered some work and profession related vocabularies, also learned some verbs, also learned some work and profession related phrases and expressions, and workplace related vocabularies. So by completing this video, you have just successfully completed the entire module number 1. Congratulations, you have successfully completed module number 1. What next? So you can see in our agenda, we have just completed the module 1 successfully, which was expanding vocabulary. Okay, we just went through some essential vocabularies for everyday conversation and also specific topics to boost your fluency. Now we are here. Okay, we are in module number 2. So under next module in the upcoming videos, we'll go through some grammar essentials. This will be some essential grammar rules or the basic grammar rules you must know to pass your German A2 exam. So this will be some foundational grammar rules needed to form accurate sentence in German. I've just divided the grammar part into 2 modules. You can see in the next module we'll cover the grammar essentials, but in the third module we'll go through some advanced grammar. These grammar rules will be more complex, but for now let's go through some foundational grammar rules. Okay, so see you in the next module. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Hello Leute, guten Morgen and welcome to the first video of our second module. Before we start with this video, let's go through which videos we are going to cover in this module. Okay, so module 2, grammar essentials. In this grammar essential module, we are going to cover at first adjectives, then present perfect of verbs, and then we have nominative versus accusative, and then we have dative case, and then prepositions, and finally we will talk about two-way prepositions. Okay, so let's start with this video, which is all about adjectives. Okay, so adjectives. So let's see which points we are going to cover in this video. We are going to cover in this video basic adjectives, then comparative versus superlative, like both in detail, then practical uses in sentences, and then finally we will talk about comparison using adjectives. Okay, so let's go through the first one, which is basic adjectives. Let's go through the Google Docs. So what I did is I just wrote some adjectives also with the English translation, and I've just divided the adjectives into various categories. Yeah, you can see, for example, at first we have the age and size, then we will talk about appearance and style, cost and value, speed and pace, condition and cleanliness, sound and volume, personality and emotions, strength and ability, temperature and taste, and finally we have interest level. Okay, so first let's go through the age and size category, which are, at first we have alt. So alt means old. If you want to say someone old, then you would say alt. Okay, alt is old. Jung is young. Okay, jung, young. Groß is for big or tall. Okay, big or tall is groß. Then klein is small or short. Okay, klein. Dick, dick means thick or fat. Okay, so dünn means thin. And then we will talk about the appearance and style. Okay, so at first we have schön. Schön, schön means beautiful. You see, we have an umlaut here. That's why you say schön. Okay, this one is one of the most commonly used adjective in German. So this is schön. And then we have the opposite word, which is hässlich. Okay, schön, hässlich. Hässlich means ugly. Then we have altmodisch. Altmodisch means old-fashioned. You see, alt came from this alt, old, and then modisch. Modisch means fashion. And lastly we have here modern. Okay, modern. Normally in English we say modern, but in German you would say modern. Okay, modern. Then we have the next category, which is cost and value. Okay, so these are like two basic. One is teuer. Teuer means expensive, and billig. Billig means something cheap. Okay, if you want to say something cheap, you would say billig. So billig and teuer. Then we have our next category, which is speed and pace. Okay, so how speed you are. Like if you want to say someone fast, then you would say schnell, and if you want to say someone slow, then you would say langsam. Okay, schnell and langsam. Then we have the next category, which is condition and cleanliness. So in this category, the first one is neu. Neu means new. If you want to say something new, you would say neu. Sauber. Sauber means clean. Let's say if you want to say your desk is clean, you would say mein Schreibtisch ist sauber. So desk is Schreibtisch and sauber means clean. Okay, so sauber means clean. and the opposite word for sauber is schmutzig. Okay, schmutzig means something dirty. Okay, so let's go to the next category, which is sound and volume. Okay, so if something is too loud, you would say loud. Okay, loud with T. Normally in English we have with D, loud, but in German you would say loud with a T. So next up we have quiet. Quiet is in German leise. Okay, leise. If you want to say something, please be quiet, then you would say sei leise. Okay, sei leise. Then we have our next category, which is personality and emotions. Okay, so at first we have freundlich. So freundlich means friendly. Then we have the opposite word for freundlich, which is unfreundlich. Okay, unfreundlich means unfriendly. So freundlich means friendly, unfreundlich means unfriendly. Okay, so then we have glücklich. Okay, you can see this with umlaut, glücklich. Okay, glücklich means happy. If you want to say I am happy, you would say ich bin glücklich. Okay, then we have traurig. Traurig means sad. Okay, if you are sad, you say ich bin traurig. Next up we have fleißig. So fleißig means hardworking. If you see someone is hardworking, you just say du bist fleißig. Okay, du bist sehr fleißig. You are very hardworking. So then we have faul. Okay, faul means lazy. Okay, lazy in German you would say faul. Then we have next category, which is strength and ability. Here we have two basic adjectives, which are one stark. So stark means strong, and then we have schwach. So schwach means weak. If you want to say someone weak, then you would say schwach. Okay, stark and schwach. So we have the next category, which is temperature and taste. So the first adjective is kalt. So kalt means cold. Okay, cold is in German kalt, and warm is for warm. Okay, you say in English warm, but in German you'd say warm. Okay, warm. Then we have hot means in German heiß. Okay, heiß is the German word for hot. Then we have tasty is in German lecker. This is also one of the most common adjective you will use in your German journey. So then we have sauer. Sauer is sour. Okay, if you want to say something sour in German, you would say sauer. Then lastly we have sweet. Sweet is süß. So süß means sweet. And lastly we have the category interest level. Okay, so interessant means something interesting. If you want to say something interesting, you say in German interessant. And if you want to say something boring, then you would say langweilig. Okay, langweilig. So interessant and langweilig. Okay, so now we have just covered some basic adjectives which you would need to pass your A2 exam. Let's continue with our presentation. And next we have practical uses in sentence. As we have learned some adjectives, we also have to know how to use them properly in sentences. Okay, so let's see. Der neue Film ist sehr interessant. Der neue Film ist sehr interessant. That means the new movie is very interesting. Next we have meine Wohnung ist klein, aber sehr schön. Meine Wohnung ist klein, aber sehr schön. You can see we just used two of the adjectives in one sentence. So my apartment is small but very nice. Okay, so as you know from our adjective list, klein means small and schön means nice. So next, move on to the next sentence. Das Essen ist lecker und nicht zu teuer. Das Essen ist lecker und nicht zu teuer. That means the food is tasty and not too expensive. So we also use two of the adjectives in one sentence. So lecker means tasty and teuer means expensive. So let's go to the next sentence. Sie ist immer freundlich und hilfsbereit. Sie ist immer freundlich und hilfsbereit. So freundlich means friendly and hilfsbereit means helpful. So she is always friendly and helpful. So now let's move on to the next slide. Comparative and superlative. So what we have, let's go through one more time with the Google Doc. So here you can see I just took all the adjectives from the previous list and wrote them with the comparative and superlative form. And this thing you would call in German Adjective Steigerung. Okay, adjective is Adjective in German. So Adjective Steigerung. So let's start with the first category, which was age and size. Okay, so alt is old
älter means older, and am ältesten means oldest. Okay, so you can see there is a comparison. If you want to compare two person, you'd say is älter als sie. That means he is older than her. But if you want to say someone at superlative stage, you'd say is am ältesten. That means he is the oldest. So that is the thing. You have to learn all the comparative and superlative for each adjectives. Okay, so alt, älter, am ältesten. Jung, jünger, am jüngsten. So young, younger, youngest. Groß, größer, am größten. So big or tall, bigger or taller, biggest or tallest. Then we have klein, klein, kleiner, am kleinsten. So small or short, smaller or shorter. Then we have smallest or shortest. So then we have dick, dicker, am dicksten. So thick or fat, thicker or fatter, or thickest or fattest. Okay, so then we have dünn, dünn, dünner, am dünnsten. So thin, thinner, thinnest. Let's go to the next category, which is appearance and style. So at first we have schön. So schön is schöner and am schönsten. So schön, schöner, am schönsten, beautiful, nice, or more beautiful, nicer, or you'd say most beautiful or nicest. So am schönsten. Then we have hässlich. So hässlich, hässlicher, am hässlichsten. Okay, hässlich, hässlicher, am hässlichsten. So ugly, uglier, and ugliest. Then we have altmodisch, altmodischer, and altmodischsten. Okay, so old-fashioned, more old-fashioned, most old-fashioned. Then we have modern, modern, moderner, am modernsten. So modern, more modern, most modern. Then we will talk about the next category, which is cost and value. So teuer is expensive, teurer means more expensive, and am teuersten means most expensive. So billig, cheap, billiger, cheaper, am billigsten, cheapest. Then we have speed and pace. Schnell, fast, schneller, faster, am schnellsten, fastest. Then we have langsam, slow, langsamer, slower, am langsamsten, slowest. Then we have the next category, which is condition and cleanliness. So neue, new, neuer, newer, am neuesten, newest. Sauber, clean, sauberer, cleaner, am saubersten, cleanest. So schmutzig, dirty, schmutziger, dirtier, and am schmutzigsten, dirtiest. Okay, so then we have the next category, which is sound and volume. So you'd say loud for loud, lauter, louder, and am lautesten, loudest. So leise, quiet, leiser, quieter, am leisesten, quietest. Okay, so next we have personality and emotions. So freundlich, friendly, freundlicher, friendlier, freundlichsten, am freundlichsten means friendliest. So same as with unfreundlich. Unfreundlich means unfriendly, unfreundlicher means unfriendlier, and am unfreundlichsten means unfriendliest. Okay, so next we have glücklich. Glücklich is happy, glücklicher, happier, am glücklichsten, happiest. So traurig, sad, trauriger, sadder, and am traurigsten, saddest. Okay, then we have fleißig. Fleißig, hardworking, fleißiger, more hardworking, am fleißigsten, most hardworking. Okay, then we have faul. Faul means lazy, fauler means lazier, am faulesten means laziest. Okay, then we have the next category, which is strength and ability. Stark, strong, stärker, stronger, and am stärksten, strongest. Okay, stark, stärker, am stärksten. Then we have schwach, weak, schwächer, weaker, am schwächsten, weakest. Okay, schwach, schwächer, am schwächsten. So then we have temperature and taste. Kalt, cold, kälter, colder, am kältesten, coldest. Okay, so kalt, kälter, am kältesten. Then we have warm for warm, wärmer for warmer, am wärmsten means warmest. Then we have heiß for hot, heißer for hotter, am heißesten for hottest. Then we have lecker, tasty, leckerer, tastier, and am leckersten, tastiest. Okay? Sauer, sauer, sour. So next we have sauer, sour, sauerer, more sour, am sauersten, most sour. So then we have süß. Süß is sweet, süßer is sweeter, and am süßesten means sweetest. And lastly we have the interest and level section, which is at first we have interessant is interesting, interessanter means more interesting, and am interessantesten. So this one is a bit tricky, interessantesten. Interessantesten means most interesting. Okay, so interessant, interessanter, and am interessantesten. Okay, so then we have langweilig. Langweilig is boring, langweiliger means more boring, and then we have am langweiligsten, that means most boring. So these were all the adjectives with the Steigerung, that means with two of the form. One was comparative and the other one is superlative. So for example, älter is the comparative version and am ältesten means superlative. And notice the link for the both docs you can find down below this video. Okay, so let's continue with our presentation. And next we have comparison using adjectives. Okay, let's see some practical uses in sentences. So you can say der Sommer ist wärmer als der Frühling. Okay, you see, der Sommer ist wärmer als der Frühling. That means summer is warmer than spring. Okay, so you just compare between summer and spring. So Sommer and Frühling. So Sommer ist wärmer als der Frühling. Then we have Lisa ist fleißiger als ihre Kollegen. Lisa is fleißiger als ihre Kollegen. That means Lisa is more hardworking than her colleagues. Okay, then we have dieser Kuchen ist leckerer als der andere. Okay, dieser Kuchen ist leckerer als der andere. That means this cake is tastier than the other one. So lecker means normally tasty and leckerer means tastier. Fleißig means hardworking, fleißiger means more hardworking. Warm means warm and wärmer is warmer. So congratulations on completing this lesson. So in this lesson we have just learned some valuable adjectives and how to use them in sentences, what are the comparative and superlative form of the adjectives, and more. In the next video we are going to learn how to use present perfect of verbs. Okay, so see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Hey guys, and welcome to the second video of module number 2. In this video we are going to talk about present perfect of verbs. Okay, so let's see what we're going to cover. So in this video we're going to cover introduction to the present perfect, like the perfect tense in German. Then we'll talk about separable and inseparable verbs. Then we'll talk about verbs with ihren. Okay, ihren. Then we'll talk about movement of verbs. Okay, so let's continue with the first slide, which is introduction to perfect. So perfect is used to describe past actions that are relevant to the present. Okay, so for example you can see ich habe 8 Uhr gefrühstückt. Ich habe 8 Uhr gefrühstückt. That means I had breakfast at 8 a.m. I had breakfast at 8 a.m. You want to express your past but in present. That's why it's perfect. Ich habe 8 Uhr gefrühstückt. Then we have the next example, like ich habe Sport gemacht. Ich habe Sport gemacht. That means I did workout. So Sport is basically the German word for workout. But you can also say it in another way, like ich habe trainiert. Trainiert means I have trained, like I have did my workout. So ich habe trainiert or ich habe Sport gemacht. So let's continue with our next slide. So let's see the difference between the separable and inseparable verbs. Okay, so at first we'll talk about the separable verbs. So separable verbs are formed in the perfect tense with haben or sein plus the past participle where the prefix goes at the beginning. Okay, let me show you some example, then it will be much easier to understand. Example: Ich habe dich kennengelernt. Ich habe dich kennengelernt. So what we have did, so normally inseparable verbs like kennenlernen, kennenlernen, is a trained by verb. We already covered it in the A1 course, but in this course it's not about learning trained by verb. You should learn this by your A1 course, but in this course we'll talk about some advanced things. Okay, so how to transform this trained by verb into perfect. Normally you say ich lerne dich kennen, but here you can see if you want to say something in past, you say ich habe dich, and then you don't have to split the verb. The verb remains together, but one difference you can see, kennen, then you have to add a ge. Okay, kennen gelernt. So ich habe dich kennen gelernt, and that's what I said, where the prefix goes at the beginning. Normally this prefix kennen comes at the end, but as you used it in perfect tense, that's why it comes in the beginning. So kennen gelernt, ich habe dich kennen gelernt, I got to know you. Or you can say du hast mich angerufen, du hast mich angerufen. So for separable verbs, the verbs you don't have to split them, you'll write them together. Just one little thing you have to change, which is you have to add a ge. So ge or ge in between. So angerufen or kennengelernt. So ich habe dich kennengelernt, I got to know you. Du hast mich angerufen, you called me. So next, let's talk about inseparable verbs, how to transform them into perfect tense, and which is inseparable verbs do not change their prefix in the past participle and follow the same structure. For example, ich habe es erlebt, ich habe es erlebt. So erlebt came from erleben. So erleben means basically if you want to experience something, you would say erleben. So you can see this one changed nothing. Ich habe es erlebt. It remains same as I said. Do not change their prefix. Let's see one more example. Du hast es bemerkt. Du hast es bemerkt. So bemerkt came also from bemerken. Bemerken means to notice something. You can see du hast es bemerkt means you noticed it. Okay, you noticed it. Ich habe es erlebt. I experienced it. Du hast es bemerkt. You noticed it. Now let's continue with the next slide. Verbs with ieren. So how do you change the verbs with ieren in perfect tense? Let's see. So verbs ending in ieren do not use the prefix ge in the participle. So let's understand this with examples. Example, hat telefoniert. Okay, hat telefoniert. You see, there is no ge. We don't use any ge prefix. You see, the normal form was telefonieren. So telefonieren became telefoniert. Okay, telefoniert. Same also goes with studieren. So studieren became studiert. Okay, hat studiert. So if I want to say I have studied, let's say science, I would say ich habe Naturwissenschaft studiert. Science is in German Naturwissenschaft. So ich habe Naturwissenschaft studiert. So the verbs end with ieren. You have to transform like that. You can see hat telefoniert or hat studiert. Then we have hat trainiert. Okay, trainiert means trained. Okay, normally the main verb is trainieren and it became trainiert in perfect. Then we have hat repariert. Okay, repariert came from the verb reparieren. Okay, then we have hat kontaktiert. Hat kontaktieren came from the verb kontaktieren. Okay, kontaktieren became kontaktiert. So this was a basic overview of how to change ieren in perfect. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Movement of verbs. Verbs that indicate movement or change of position, for example going, coming, walking, typically use sein as the auxiliary verb in the present perfect tense instead of haben. And common verbs that use sein are gehen, fahren, kommen, fliegen, laufen. Because you can see there are some movement. Gehen, you have to walk. Fahren, you have to drive. Kommen, you have to like come. Fliegen means to fly. Laufen means to run. That means all the verbs have some kind of movement. So if any verb have some kind of movement, then you would use sein instead of haben. For example, we used ich habe telefoniert, ich habe angerufen, or ich habe studiert. But in this case, you don't use this habe verb. You would use ich bin. Okay, the sein verb, the sein form. So ich bin nach Hause gegangen. You don't say ich habe nach Hause gegangen. You say ich bin nach Hause gegangen. Or next, say with ist nach Berlin gefahren. So is came from the verb sein, and for the conjugation of sein is ist. Okay, that's why ich bin nach Hause gegangen or ist nach Berlin gefahren. Okay, so I went home or he drove to Berlin. These verbs have some kind of movement. That's why you use sein. This is a common mistake most of the newcomer face, like they don't use sein for movement verbs. They instead use just haben. For example, they say ich habe gekommen or ich habe gefahren. But you don't say ich habe gefahren, you say ich bin gefahren. You don't say ich habe gegangen, you say ich bin gegangen. So if one verb has some kind of movement, you just transform into sein, okay? Then you say ich bin gegangen or ist gegangen, not hat gegangen. So that can be a common mistake you can avoid to speak like a German pro. Conclusion. Congratulations on completing this lesson. In this lesson, we have just learned one of the most important grammar rule of German. In the next video, we are going to talk about the difference between nominative and accusative. So see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.
Hey, if you are enjoying this far, then let me tell you, these are just the first 2 modules of my complete A2 intensive course. Now imagine how much value you can get from my entire course. So if you are interested, then don't forget to check it out. You will find the link in the description. So let's continue with the video.
Hey guys, and welcome to the third video of second module. In this video, we are going to talk about nominative versus accusative. So let's see what we're going to cover. Here's what we're going to cover. Introduction to nominative case, introduction to accusative case, articles in nominative versus accusative, common verbs with accusative, and finally we'll talk about examples and practice. Okay, so let's start with our first slide, which is introduction to nominative case. The nominative case is used for the subject of a sentence, the person or thing performing the action. Okay, it will be much easier to understand if I show you an example. Okay, so let's see an example. So you can see there's a dog. So what is the dog doing? Der Hund läuft. Der Hund läuft. That means the dog runs. As I mentioned here, the nominative case is used for the subject of a sentence. So Hund, the dog, is the subject of the sentence. The person or thing performing the action. So the dog is performing the action. The dog is running. That means he is performing an action. That's why here the situation is a nominative case. Okay. Der Hund läuft. So this was a basic nominative case of situation. It will be much easier to understand nominative case if I show you how accusative case works. Then you can compare both of them. Okay. So now let's get introduced to accusative case. The accusative case is used for the direct object, the person or thing directly affected by the action. Let's see an example. So you can see the boy has a dog. How do you say it in German? Ich habe einen Hund. That means I have a dog. Okay, now you can see the article transform from ein to einen, because normally if any article has the article der, then it will be in infinitive article ein. But why we just wrote einen instead of ein? Because haben is an accusative verb. If there is an accusative verb, you have to transform the article into accusative. Yeah, so now you may ask, bro, how to transform the nominative case into accusative? And here comes our next slide, which is the transformation from nominative to accusative. So at first you can see the masculine article where der becomes den and ein becomes einen. Okay, this is the main change, main transformation. Rather than that, there is no transformation or change. You can see as feminine has die and ein remain same. Neutral das and ein remain the same. Okay, so in nominative you say die, in accusative also die, in nominative das, in accusative also das. So this remain unchanged, but only masculine changes. His article. Okay, you can see der becomes den and becomes einen. So let's see an example. So for example, ich habe den Apfel. Ich habe den Apfel. That means I have the apple. So normally Apfel has the article der. But as haben is an accusative verb, you have to say ich habe den Apfel. Not ich habe der Apfel, you say ich habe den Apfel. Same also with the next one. Sie kauft einen Tisch. Sie kauft einen Tisch. Normally Tisch has the article der. And as kaufen is an accusative verb, you have to transform it from ein to einen. You don't say sie kauft ein Tisch, sie kauft einen Tisch. Okay, so this was a basic comparison between nominative and accusative. Just one little change: if a verb is accusative verb, then you have to just transform the article. Okay, so now you would say, okay, I learned the transformation from nominative to accusative. How to identify the verbs in accusative? Yeah, and that's where our next slide comes in, which is common verbs with accusative. Let's go to the Google Doc. So at first we have the verb called möchten. Okay, möchten means to want. Okay, to want. Mögen is to like. Wollen to want. Brauchen to need. Kaufen to buy. Zahlen or bezahlen to pay. Nehmen to take. Bestellen to order. Essen to eat. Trinken to drink. Sehen to see. Hören to listen. Besuchen to visit. Finden to find. Anrufen to call. Fragen to ask. Einladen to invite. Malen to paint. Lesen to read. Öffnen to open. Schließen to close. Kochen to cook. Backen to bake. Braten to fry. Schneiden to cut. Lieben to love. Machen to do or to make. Abholen to receive. Suchen to search. Vergessen to forget. Vermissen to miss. Schreiben to write. Waschen to wash. Treffen to meet. Spielen to play. So these were basically some common accusative verbs. That means if you see those verbs, what you have to do is you have to transform the masculine article. Okay, if there is there, you have to transform it to den. If there is ein, you would transform it to einen. If mine, then meinen. Dein, deinen. You got the point, right? Now let's continue with the next slide, which is example and practices. Okay, as we have learned some of the verbs, let's see the practical uses in a sentence. Okay, these are some simple sentence examples using both cases. At first we have sie will einen Hund. Sie will einen Hund. You see, Hund has the article der, and wollen, as we have learned, wollen is an accusative verb. That's why sie will einen Hund. She wants a dog. Then we have kauft ein Auto. Kauft ein Auto. You see, kaufen is also accusative verb, but as the car has the article das, that's why ein Auto. Yeah, das don't change, die don't change, a feminine neuter don't change, they remain the same. That's why kauft ein Auto. He buys a car. Then we have a boy eating an apple. You would say ich esse einen Apfel. I'm eating an apple. That means normally Apfel has the article der, and ein is the infinitive article, but as you used essen, the accusative verb, that's why ein becomes einen. Ich esse einen Apfel. As we have learned from the list that essen is an accusative verb, that's why ich esse einen Apfel. That means I am eating an apple. Conclusion. Congratulations on completing this lesson. In this lesson we've just learned an important grammar rule in German, which was a basic difference between nominative case and accusative case. Next up we will talk about the dative case. So see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Hi guys, and welcome to the fourth video of second module. In this video we are going to talk about dative case. So let's see what we are going to cover. Here's what we're going to cover. Introduction to dative case, dative articles and pronouns, common dative words, and preposition von plus dative. Okay, so let's start with the introduction to dative case. The dative case is used to show the indirect object of a sentence, typically indicate to whom or for whom something is done. Okay, so let's understand this through examples. For example, ich gebe dem Mann das Buch. Ich gebe dem Mann das Buch. I give the man the book. And another example can be sie gibt mir ihre Nummer. Sie gibt mir ihre Nummer. Okay, sie gibt mir ihre Nummer means she gives me her number. So what we have just learned, as I mentioned, the dative case is used to show the indirect object. Okay, indirect object in this example was das Buch. Indirect object typically indicate to whom or for whom. For example, in this case you can see to whom, to the man, them man. This was the basic definition of dative case. Like if you want to use to show the indirect object to whom or for whom. In this case also, sie gibt mir ihre Nummer. Ihre Nummer is the indirect object, and to whom or for whom, mir. Mir means me. So this thing I highlighted is the dative case. You can see normally you say der Mann, but here we use dem man. Normally you say mich, okay, ich, mich, but here mir. Why? Because we have transformed the article or the pronoun to dative case as we have the dative verb. Okay, geben is a dative verb. Here we have also geben. Geben is also dative verb. Okay, so now let's go to the next slide, which is dative articles and pronouns. This is how definite and indefinite articles change in the dative case. Okay, let's learn this. At first, masculine article, der becomes them, ein becomes einem. In accusative case, you remember from the last video, der becomes then, and ein becomes einen. But here in dative, der becomes them. Instead of then, you say them. Ein becomes einem. Okay. And in this case, unlike accusative, you have to change all of the forms. For example, you can see feminine, you have to transform from die to der, and eine to einer. Okay. Normally in accusative case, die and ein remain same. But in dative case, you have to transform die to der and eine to einer. So neutral is also same. Das becomes them. As the masculine one, you can see der becomes them. Das becomes also them. Ein becomes also einem, like the masculine one. And finally, we have the plural one, which is die becomes then. Okay, die becomes then. This is why all the transformation you have to do when you have a dative verb. At the beginning stage, it will be harder to memorize all the article transformation, but as you use in the sentences, as you practice, you can master the thing. So let's see some example. For example, ich helfe der Frau. Ich helfe der Frau. That means I help the woman. So normally Frau has the article die, but as we learned, feminine die becomes der. That's why ich helfe der Frau. You don't say ich helfe die Frau, you say ich helfe der Frau. Then we have the next example. Wir geben dem Kind ein Geschenk. Wir geben dem Kind ein Geschenk. So normally kind has the article das, and as we have learned, neutral, das becomes them. That's why wir geben dem Kind ein Geschenk. So we give the child a gift. So let's go through the next slide, which is common verbs with dative. So now you may ask, bro, how to identify the dative verbs, yeah? And here we'll go through a Google Doc. So now we'll go through some common dative verbs which you will need for your A2 exam preparation. Okay. So at first we have antworten. Antworten means to answer. Then we have danken. Danken means to thanks. Erzählen, to tell. Ich erzähle dir. That means I tell you. So erzählen is to tell. Fehlen, to miss. Du fehlst mir. I miss you. So fehlen means to miss. Folgen, to follow. Geben, to give. This is a most common dative verb you will use all the time. Then we have gehören. Gehören means to belong. For example, das gehört mir. Das gehört mir means it belongs to me. So gehören, to belong. Then we have glauben. Glauben means to believe. Okay. Ich glaube an Gott. Ich glaube an Gott means I believe on God. So then we have gratulieren. Gratulieren means to congratulate. Helfen. Helfen means to help. This is also a common dative verb we will use most of the time. Then we have nutzen. Nutzen means to use. Passen, to fit or to suit. For example, das passt mir perfekt. That means it fits me perfectly. Then we have raten. Raten means to guess. Then we have sagen. Sagen means to say. So one was erzählen, which was to tell, and then we have sagen, which means to say. So both are like similar, but you have to use in various situations. Schicken. Schicken means to send. Okay, ich schicke dir the email. That means I will send you the email. So schicken means to send. Senden is also send, but it is used mostly in formal situations. Senden. Okay. Then we have schmecken. Schmecken means to taste. For example, wie schmeckt das? Then we have vertrauen. Vertrauen means to trust. Then zeigen. Zeigen means to show. For example, ich zeige dir. That means I show you. So zeigen is a dative verb. Then we have zuhören. Okay, zuhören. Normally, hören means to listen. But if you want someone to actively listen to you, then you would say hör mir zu. Okay, that means please listen to me. So these were some common dative verbs. You will find the link to the doc down below this video. These were some common dative verbs, but if you want to learn some advanced dative verbs, then access the document. There you will find more than these verbs. Okay, so let's continue. Preposition von plus dative. Okay, this is how von is used with the dative case to indicate possession or origin. So von is basically dative preposition, and in sentence after each von you have to use the dative case. Okay, so let's see an example. Die Mutter von Anna. Okay, if you want to say Anna's mother, then you would say die Mutter von Anna. Here you can also use a genitive case, which we will talk about the advanced grammar section, where you can just say Anna's Mutter. Okay, but if you want to use von, you would say die Mutter von Anna. So that basically means Anna's mother. Then we have the next example, which is das Auto von meinem Freund. Das Auto von meinem Freund. You see, von, then dative case, meinem. You don't say das Auto von mein Freund. Normally Freund has the article der, so der becomes them and becomes einem, mein becomes meinem. Okay, das Auto von meinem Freund, my friend's car. So conclusion, congratulations on completing this lesson. In this lesson we have just learned the most important and crucial part of German grammar, which is the dative case. In the upcoming videos we are going to cover the preposition side of the German grammar. So see you in the next video. Till then, take care, bye bye. Hey guys, and welcome to the fifth video of module number 2. In this video we are going to talk about prepositions, or known as in German Preposition. Okay, Preposition. So let's say what we are going to cover. So in this video we are going to cover common prepositions of place, accusative versus dative preposition, and lastly practical uses in sentences. So let's start with our first slide, which is common prepositions of place. So you can see there are tons of prepositions here. So at first let's start with the in. So in is basically like the English one, in. If something is in something, then you would say in. So for example, these are some boxes and we'll take this as our reference. So box is in German Kiste, and let's say this is a ball and we'll take this ball as our example. So for example, we would say der Ball ist in der Kiste. Okay, because Kiste has the article die, that's why you would say der Ball ist in der Kiste. So zwischen is the German word for between. Okay, between. So in English it will be the ball is between the boxes, but in German you would say der Ball ist zwischen den Kisten. Okay, der Ball ist zwischen den Kisten. So next we have auf. So auf is basically the German word for on. Okay, on top of something. So now you can say der Ball ist auf der Kiste. Okay, der Ball ist auf der Kiste. So next up we have vor. For is the German word for in front. Okay, if something is in front of something, then you'd say vor. For example, der Ball ist vor der Kiste. Okay, der Ball ist vor der Kiste. That means the ball is in front of the box. Then we have unter. Okay, so unter basically means under something. So in English you would say the ball is under the box, but in German you'd say der Ball ist unter der Kiste. Okay. Then we have hinter. Hinter means basically behind something. Okay, so hinter is the German word for behind. So that means if you say it in English, the ball is behind the box, you would say in German, der Ball ist hinter der Kiste. Okay, der Ball ist hinter der Kiste. So next we have über. So über basically means at top of something or over something. Okay, so let's say the ball is over the box. How do you say it in German? Der Ball ist über der Kiste. Okay, so next we have neben. Neben basically means near. Okay, near. How do you say it in German? Let's say it in English first. So in English it would be the ball is near the box, but in German it would be der Ball ist neben der Kiste. Okay, neben der Kiste. Then we have lastly an. So an basically means at something. If I have to say it more specifically, then I would say attached to something. An means attached to something. For example, you can see the ball is attached to the ball. The ball is attached to the box. Okay, so how do you say it in English? You would say the ball is attached to the box, but in German you would say der Ball ist an der Kiste. Okay, der Ball ist an der Kiste. So let's revise all the prepositions. So in means in, zwischen means between, auf means on top of something, Vor means in front, unter means under, hinter means behind, über means over or top of something, then neben is near, and finally an means to attach to something, or let's say at something, okay, by something. An has different meanings, but basically it means attached to something, then you would say an. Okay, so let's continue the next slide. Okay, example. So now what we have just learned, we'll practically implement it in some various sentences. So the oil is on top of the box. How do you say it in German? You would say the oil ist auf der Kiste. Okay, so oil means basically oil, and auf der Kiste means on the box. Okay, on top of the box. So the oil ist auf der Kiste. That means the oil is on the box. Next we have the hole in between of the boxes. So how do you say it in German? You would say the oil is zwischen den Kisten. So now you may ask, bro, why we have in first sentence the article there and in the second sentence then? I will explain it to you in seconds. Let's go through the next example, which is, you can see the hole is inside of the box. Okay, so how do you say it in German? You would say the oil is in der Kiste. Okay, the oil is in der Kiste. The oil is in the box. Okay, so in is the same one as the English one, but the other one you can see between means zwischen in German, on means auf in German. So at first we have to understand in preposition there are also some accusative form and dative form. So when do you use accusative case and when do you use dative case? So there is a basic rule. If some object or some person is not moving, like he or she is standing in the place, then you would use the dative case. On the other hand, if some object or some person is moving towards something, then you would use the accusative case. Okay, so here you can see the wall is not moving. He is standing on the box, or he is between the box, or he is in the box. The wall is not moving, he is still. That's why you can see we used dative case. For example, the oil is auf der Kiste. Normally Kiste has the article die. Because this is a dative case, you would transform die to der. Okay, the oil is auf der Kiste. Okay, die will transform to der, and then why we have den? Because you can see Kiste is the singular form and Kisten is the plural form, and in dative case the plural die turns into den. Okay, that's why you can see the oil is zwischen den Kisten. You don't say the oil is zwischen der Kiste, because the feminine die will transform to der, but plural die will transform into den. That's why auf der Kiste, because there was only one box, this was singular, but here we have two boxes, Kisten. Okay, two boxes, that's why den Kisten. But in the third example you can see in der Kiste, so that means it is a single box, that's why again in der Kiste. So you can see Kiste, not Kisten. So Kisten is the plural form and Kiste is the singular form. Don't worry, we'll talk about this accusative and dative situation in depth in the next video. For now, let's see which prepositions are dative and which prepositions are accusative. So let's continue. Accusative versus dative Prepositionen. Okay, so at first we have accusative Prepositionen, and these are bis. So bis means to, by, or up to. Then we have für means for. Then we have ohne means without. Then we have means around. Then we have durch means through. And then finally we have gegen means against. So these are some accusative preposition or accusative Prepositionen. That means if you see these prepositions in a sentence, then it would be an accusative case. On the other hand, let's learn some dative Prepositionen. So von means from or of. Then we have zu means to. Then we have mit means with. Then we have bei means at. Then we have nach means after or to. Then we have seit means since. And finally we have aus means of. So we have just covered some basic accusative Prepositionen and dative Prepositionen. So now let's learn them through some practical uses. Okay, so here are some practical uses in sentences. At first, on the left side we have the accusative case, on the right side we have the dative case. So for accusative case, the first example will be: Mach bitte die Hausaufgaben bis Montag. mach bitte die Hausaufgaben bis Montag. So you can see the article doesn't change because it's accusative case. And why is it accusative case? Because we have the preposition bis. That's why the Hausaufgaben remains the same article, die Hausaufgaben. So mach bitte die Hausaufgaben bis Montag means please do the homework by Monday. Let's see the next example. Wir gehen ohne dich nach Paris. Wir gehen ohne dich nach Paris. That means we are going to Paris without you. You can see ohne is a accusative preposition. That's why we used dich, not dir. So as you know, this is the accusative form of personal pronouns and dir is the dative case for personal pronoun. So here you can see we use dich because we have used accusative preposition. So let's continue with the dative preposition. So at first we have kommt gerade von der Arbeit. Kommt gerade von der Arbeit. That means he's just coming from work. So kommt gerade von der Arbeit. Normally the article of Arbeit is die Arbeit, but because it's a dative preposition, we have transformed from die to der. Okay? Kommt gerade von der Arbeit. That means he's just coming from work. Then we have the next example. Ich fahre mit dem Bus nach Hause. Ich fahre mit dem Bus nach Hause. Normally bus has the article der Bus. But because we use dative case or dative preposition mit, that's why we transform der to dem. Okay? Ich fahre mit dem Bus. Not ich fahre mit der Bus. You'd say ich fahre mit dem Bus. So that basically means I go to home by bus. So this was some practical uses with both accusative and dative cases. So congratulations on completing this lesson. So in this lesson we have just learned the basics of prepositions like the difference between the accusative and dative cases, a short overview of when to use the accusative case and when to use the dative case. In the next video we'll go through in depth of two-way preposition. That means basically when and how exactly you will use the prepositions in dative and accusative. So see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Hey guys, and welcome to the sixth and final video of module number 2. In this video we are going to talk about Wechselpräpositionen or two-way prepositions. So let's see what we are going to talk about. In this video we are going to cover introduction to two-way prepositions, then accusative case for direction and movement, then dative case for position and location, and finally some tips for remembering. Okay, so let's start with our first slide, which is introduction to two-way prepositions. So Wechselpräpositionen, or known as two-way prepositions, can be used with both the accusative and dative case. In the previous video we have just learned some basic accusative preposition and dative prepositions, but there are some prepositions which you can use in both cases. Now let's see which preposition you can use in both cases. Auf is on. Then we have über means above. Then we have vor means in front. So then we have neben means near. Then we have unter means under. Then we have in is also like the English one, in. Then we have hinter means behind. Then we have zwischen means between. Okay, so these are basically the preposition you can use in both cases. Now let's talk about how to identify whether we're going to use as accusative case or dative case. And for this clarification we have to continue with our next slide, which is accusative case for direction and movement. So when indicating motion or direction, two-way prepositions take the accusative case. Okay, that basically means if you see some object or some person is moving towards something, then you would use the accusative case. For example, you can see here two persons just going to the cinema. So how do you say it in German? You would say ich gehe ins Kino. Ich gehe ins Kino or ich gehe in das Kino. Okay, so I'm going to cinema. Normally Kino has the article das, and you know if it was dative then you would transform das to them, then you would say ich gehe in dem Kino, but it's not correct. The correct form is ich gehe ins Kino or ich gehe in das Kino. So ins is basically the short form for in plus das. You can just say ins instead of in das. You can also say in das, but ins is a bit shorter. So ich gehe ins Kino or ich gehe in das Kino. Okay, so I'm going to cinema. Let's go to the next example. Ich gehe in die Schule. Okay, ich gehe in die Schule. So normally Schule has the article die, and you can see we didn't transform anything here. because we know in accusative only there or the masculine one changes and the rest remain the same. So das remain das, the remains the. That's why ich gehe in das Kino or ich gehe ins Kino or ich gehe in die Schule. Okay, so I'm going to school. So now let's see same situation for dative case. Okay, so how do I identify dative case? Dative case for position and location. So when indicating position or location, two-way prepositions take the dative case. So that basically means if something is not moving, like he or she or the object is staying in the place, then you would use the dative case. So now we have the opposite example for the previous examples. For example, you can see ich bin im Kino. Okay, so previously we say ich gehe ins Kino. It was a movement, but here ich bin im Kino, that basically means you are in the cinema or I am in the cinema. So there is no movement, you are staying at the place, that's why it's dative. So im is basically the short form for in them. Previously we used in das, you said ins, but in dative case you would say im, because in plus them would be im, or you can say ich bin in dem Kino. You don't have to panic, both are correct. You can use ich bin im Kino or ich bin in dem Kino. That basically means I am in cinema. So let's go to the next example, which is ich bin in der Schule. Okay, ich bin in der Schule. Previously we said ich gehe in die Schule. Okay, ich gehe, it was a movement, but in this case, in dative case, you said ich bin in der Schule. Okay, because you are in the school, there is no movement, like you are staying in the school. That's why ich bin in der Schule, it's a dative case. So you can see in both cases in can be used for accusative can as well as also for dative case. So now let me give you some tips for remembering. Here is a tip to remember whether to use accusative or dative. I saw many newcomers face these challenges when to use the accusative case and when to use the dative case. So let me give you a simple tips, which is if you're going to somewhere or if you're moving towards something, you or the object or the person, then you'd use the accusative case. Okay, so motion is equal to accusative. On the other hand, if the thing, the object or the person is not moving, he or she staying in the place, then you would use the dative case. Okay, so location equal to dative. So if you want to say specifically location, you would use the dative case, but if you want to describe a motion, then you would use the accusative case. Okay, so location, no movement, dative, motion, moving towards something, accusative. Okay, so this was a basic tip to remember whether you should use the accusative case or dative case. Okay, so wohin accusative, wo where dative. Okay, so conclusion. Congratulations on completing this lesson. In this lesson we have just learned the two-way preposition, so where and when to use the accusative case and when to use the dative case. So with this lesson or with this video, you have just successfully completed the module number 2. Congratulations. So what next? So you can see we have just went through the first module, which was expanding your vocabulary, like some essential vocabularies, and this entire second module we just went through the grammar essentials. So some essentials grammar, which were some compulsory grammar rules to pass your A2 exam. In the next module, module number 3, we are going to talk about some advanced grammar. So there will be some more complex grammar concepts to enhance your communication skills. What we have just went through, this was some basic grammar rules which you have to must learn to have the basic foundation, but in the advanced grammar section we'll deep dive into more complex grammar rules. This will be the most important module to pass your A2 exam. So see you in the next module. Till then, take care. Bye bye.